Hello, First Covenant Church family. It is so nice of you to join us for this brief kind of announcement. We've got some business that we are going to talk about and address. We'll explain that a little bit later, but it is my privilege to be here with our church chairman, Mike Buer. And Mike, your term is coming to a close here soon. In June, your term will be up, but I think you will be able, for all future chairs for First Covenant Church, if anybody comes to you and talks about how challenging it is to be a chair at First Covenant, you can say, yeah, try doing it during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Real challenges. But Mike, what have you observed or learned about First Covenant Church during this really unprecedented time over the last 12 months?
Pastor Chris, it's been interesting because I have some highlights from this pandemic year, and I'm going to have my top 5, and I have actually more than that, and this is in no particular order, but I'm going to do a top 5. And so the first one I'm going to talk about is thank you to our church family for giving of their tithes and offerings. We finished the year in the black, which I find amazing given the circumstances.
Yeah.
The second thing would be the Harvest Fest offering. And you and I did a video on this before, so I'm not going to talk about the 30,000 because that's fantastic. But I want to talk about how the council voted and set forth a resolution that we would give at least 75% of those proceeds away to ministries outside our doors, and we actually gave 80%. I find that wonderful.
Yeah.
Another thing, another highlight for me was the church app. And I know that this was put in place months before the pandemic hit, but because we had the app, we were able to push out information, push out messages. We did our church services on the app. When the youth and children couldn't meet, Rocky and Steph did such a fantastic job of doing videos on the app. And I don't think a lot of people know that over 40% of our giving has been given online and through the app, which I just find fantastic. And during the pandemic, we had churches call and say, how do we get the app? And they couldn't be helped because there just was not enough room in companies to do that. So kudos to Pastor Dan May, to the Finance Commission for looking into the future and seeing, this is the way we should go. And we were all set up, ready to go. That was just a highlight for me. Another highlight was the estate of Leroy Ekstrom, in the fact that we do not have debt on the 801 building anymore.
Yeah, isn't that
due to Leroy's savings and love the church, looking to the future. We were able to use that money and wipe out the debt, and we are now debt free, that is such a freeing thing. And then the last thing that I have found really a highlight is how you and your staff have come together and worked together so beautifully. You and I have had many conversations about how hard it's been. So many things that were just normal we could never do.
Yeah.
So here we are. How do we do a church service? How do you do a new YouTube channel? How do you edit? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I found that you, Pastor Dan May again, Becca Gamboa, Becca Lawton, who's not on staff, but you guys did a fantastic job of pushing out our church services. And I just found that a real highlight in how you work together. So those are my top 5.
Oh, that's great. And thank you for that, Mike. This has truly been an unbelievable time in our life. And as I was been reflecting on this past year, I was drawn to in reading the end of the gospel account according to the Apostle John. And in this, John alone records this incredible interaction between the Apostle Peter and Jesus. So Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, appears to the disciples. They're out fishing because Peter doesn't know what else to do, right? Jesus is gone. I guess maybe he thinks, I'm just going to go back to my old life. I'm just going to do what I know what to do. And so he's out fishing, and they didn't catch anything all night long. And Jesus is there on the shore, and he shouts out to them, hey, why don't you throw your net on the other side of the boat? And there's such an incredible, miraculous catch of fish that Peter, they can't even haul it into the boat. Well, Peter recognizes then that it's Jesus, and he jumps overboard and he swims to shore, and Jesus has prepared this incredible breakfast for them. And you can just imagine all of them coming together again with Jesus there, and all the emotions and all the sentiment, and everybody is just loving that time. And then Jesus takes Peter aside and they go for a walk. And the first thing Jesus asks Peter is, Peter, do you love me more than these? And I was wondering, what does Jesus mean when he asks about these? Who or what is he talking about? And I began to realize that Jesus was talking about everything that Peter had encountered that morning. The familiarity of going back to his job of fishing out at the sea, the camaraderie of some of his best friends there with him in the boat, the comfort of having Jesus with them preparing a meal, miraculous meal after this incredible catch of fish. And Jesus asked, do you love me more than all of these things? Do you love me more than your comforts? Do you love me more than the blessings that I give to you? Because if you do, and this is where Jesus kind of concludes it, if you do, you will be led places that you don't want to go. And I wonder if that's an invitation for us as the church in this season, at this time. There's so much that we've had to kind of give away or let go of in this last year. And that's been really hard. And nobody misses it maybe more than me. But at the same time, I sense that Jesus is asking, do you love me more than all of these things that as a church you've gravitated towards and held onto? And that's a real challenge that we need to continue to wrestle with as a church. And so I invite the congregation to be praying with us as together we discern what is the church going to look like and what is God calling us into in this next season of ministry. Mike, we are asking the congregation to vote on some important decisions or some important action items that the council and the elder board has brought forward. And per our constitution, the congregation needs to vote on these. And so what is going to be on the ballot here for this business meeting that closes at the beginning of March?
Yeah, we have 3 items that we need to vote on. The first one would be the budget, which has been passed by the council, passed by the Finance Commission, which brought it to the council. And so we need to vote on that. The second issue would be 4 new partnering members, which is really exciting. Joel Schenenberger, Mitch Stoberl, and also Alan and Tammy Mall. And you can see their bios in the newsletter. It was fun to read those, so make sure you do that. And then the third one would be Laura Joustra, who was a part of our church for a number of years on worship team, working with the children. She has moved to Orange City, Iowa, and has found a church down there. And they are requesting that she move her membership from our church to their church. And we need to vote on that so that she can move her membership down there. And they are getting a wonderful young lady to work with their church down there. So those are the 3 items that we'll be voting on for the annual or semi-annual meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike. The information has been put out in the newsletter. There will be information emailed out, so be paying attention to that if you receive the church email. The information will be put out on the church app, so look for notifications there. The ballot is an electronic ballot, as that option is available, and you can fill out that ballot anytime between now and March 5th. The ballot will close on March 5th. And also, if you aren't email savvy or electronic savvy, the church office has emailed out, or not emailed, snail mailed out the information, and those ballots are paper ballots. You can fill them out and send them back to the church. Again, we'd like to have those by March 5th in order to be counted. So I want to thank the congregation for your incredible faithfulness over this past year in financial support, in prayer, reaching out to one another. I've just been filled with joy to see how the church has loved one another in this time, and encourage you to continue to do that. So, Mike, any last word for us as the church?
No, just keep on keeping on. This whole thing is we have a new normal now, and we just need to go with it. I loved your words from John. We need to adhere to that. So and once again, I love our church family, and thank you so much for supporting us as an elder board and the council, and just ask that you would continue to do that in the future.
All right. Thank you, Mike. And thank you, First Covenant. God bless.
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.